No, I mean, like you said, it's been a bit of a journey, but I'm really happy to be to be playing pro ball back in Florida. And when I was a kid, Inter Miami wasn't even a thing. So to have a professional team down here for the people for young kids growing up, it's awesome, and I feel blessed to be able to play for the team.
Thank you, Michelle. Next question. Let's go to Kobe. Kobe, you're off mute.
Thanks, Jackie. Hey, Sammy. Kobe Price from the South Florida Sun Sentinel. How you doing?
How you doing? Good, and you?
I'm well. I'm well. Thanks for asking. I kind of want to follow up on Michelle's question. When David Beckham announces, I guess that was, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, my math's probably a little off right there, that he's going to bring a club down to South Florida. You would have been, like 16? You've been a teenager.
Young.
Yeah, you would have been young. What was that moment like? And at that moment, do you remember that happening? Was that kind of like a spark of when this team does eventually get launched? This is a place I would love to play.
Yeah, I mean, of course. There's always the thought in the back of my head, like, what if? Because at that time, like you said, I was maybe 16, 17. You don't really know what the future will hold, but when it was announced, I always thought and talk with my friends and be like, wow, how cool would it be to be able to play for a team like that where you're from? So yeah, I would say so.
Thank you, Kobe. Next, we'll take a question from Franco and then Chris Whittingham. Franco, you're off mute.
Thank you, Jackie. Hey, Sammy, Franco Panizo with SBIsoccer.com and Miami Total Football. Just wanted to ask you, how much do you think last year helped you be able to make this next step and take this next jump to MLS? You played with Fort Lauderdale last year, so you were local. You got to know what the club was about, how they wanted to go about things more or less. I know there was changes, but overall, how much do you think last year playing games and just being familiar with what the club wanted to do that helped you to take this jump? Thanks, Sammy.
No, I mean, it was massive because not only was I back home, but I was playing in a new position as well. So working with the coaching staff with Fort Lauderdale from last year, they helped me out so much, and they were honestly like a big part of the reason I was able to make the jump to here. So I mean, just getting used to playing games and whatnot. So yeah, I don't know. I'd say it's massive, big time.
Thank you, Franco. Chris, you're off mute.
Thanks, Jackie. And thanks, Sammy, for doing this. Chris Whittingham from the Inter Miami radio broadcast. I actually did play-by-play of a few of your games last year. In the end, it was 5 of you who've made the jump up from the USL team into the first team. How much kind of promise does that give everyone in the team now, in the USL team, kind of that promise of a pathway, and how important have the club made it to you that pathway is open?
I mean, if one of us can do it, I think it shows that anyone can do it. So as long as the kids from the academy into the USL see that there is a chance, I think it gives them something to work for. And as you can see, if the club is promoting it, like I said, like I just said, if the kids have something that they feel that they can reach, then it makes it all that easier to work hard and put in the effort for that end goal.
Thank you, Chris. We'll take a question from Dairon Quiroz. Dairon, you're off mute.
Thank you, Jackie. Hi, Sammy. Nice to meet you. My Dairon Quiroz for VDM Radio. So Phil Neville was talking about you just a few minutes ago, and he was saying that you caught his eye immediately when he went to watch the USL practice and so on. So I wanted to ask you, what did you think that was what Phil saw in you in that moment, which are yours, and that will help us to know as well, in your opinion, which are your strongest?
Like as a player?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you'd have to ask Phil what exactly he saw, but I mean, me personally, I'd like to say what I can do moving forward. And like I said a couple questions ago, it is still a relatively new position, so I'm picking up the little tips and tricks that will make the transition easier. But yeah, I don't know what I can do moving forward, one-on-one attacking as well as defending. I I'd like to say I have a decent left foot. So I think maybe those are a couple of things that might have caught his eye.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Dairon. We'll take 2 more questions for Sami. We'll go to Michael Franca and end with Michelle Kaufman. Mike, you're off mute.
So Sami, so like we talked about a little bit, you're from South Florida and you got to make your Inter Miami debut last week. So just want to ask you what that moment was like when you actually finally stepped out onto the field representing the team.
Oh, I mean, it was awesome. Like I really couldn't ask for a better home crowd to debut in front of. Like it felt unbelievable.
Thank you, Mike. Michelle, you're off mute.
Sami, I just want to ask you about your beginnings. When you first decided, I guess you didn't go the college route, you went to Germany first, I think. Can you just tell us a little bit about that decision and how difficult was that for you as a really young kid to go to Germany and, you know, make that move and why you did that?
Well, it was a difficult experience to say the least. I'm happy I did it because it made me the person I am today. But I mean, the decision making behind it, like I wasn't really able to grow up how these kids are with the academies and kind of like we touched on before, a direct path to the first team. So I made the decision of trying to go overseas and play instead of going to college. And I guess it worked eventually. It took a while, but it did. But yeah, that was a choice I made because my goal was to play. So I always figured I can always go back to school. Let's try and let's see what happens.
Thank you, Michelle. Sami, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys.